I want to talk today about having a 30,000 foot view. Now, what is this related to mental health? Let me tell you. Sometimes our perspective really determines how we feel about a certain situation or a certain circumstance or relationship or anything that we're really looking at. Our perspective actually matters. The perspective we have shapes our beliefs about it, shapes our feelings about it, shapes our thoughts about it. So, perspective is key when we're talking about mental health and mental health wellness. So, if any of you have ever gone on a hike, I hope if you're living in BC, for sure you've gone on a hike somewhere. And you start at the bottom of the mountain and you work your way up. And there's something about when you get to the peak of the mountain, the peak of the hike, when you get to see that view. The view is always breathtaking in some form. You are either looking at more forest or you're looking at lakes. Typically, we look over lakes because it's just so beautiful here. And there's a sense of accomplishment when you're up there. There's a sense of being able to see this panoramic view that's amazing that we don't get to see when we're actually at the bottom of the mountain. So we climb to see the view. And then you see something different than you are at the bottom of the mountain. Life is exactly like that. So we get really myopic and really focused on what's in front of us, whether that's a problem that we're trying to solve, whether it's a relationship conflict, whether it's parenting children, whether it's breakups or whatever it is that we're dealing with, stress or being really frustrated with yourself or eating too much or not eating enough or hating your thighs or whatever it is. We get really myopic. We get like super focused on this one thing. We actually don't really have a lot of perspective about it. There's something really powerful when you step back and take a 30,000 foot view. And that means being able to look back, step out of your life a little bit, being able to see the whole picture, getting that panoramic view of what's been happening in your life, instead of being really hyper focused on this one thing. Now, we all get hyper focused on one thing all the time. Why do we do that? It's part of the human brain. It's part of our functioning in that sense, but because we're trying to find a solution to the problem. So when we have something that's really challenging or something that's really hard, we really like to focus. The brain loves to focus. But what we want to do is be able to step out of it. Now, what can help you do that is just making a list of all the things that have happened in the last year in your life. I know it sounds a bit daunting, but if you were to take pen to paper and just make a list of all the things that have happened, all the things you've done, all the accomplishments you've had, all the challenges that you've had, things that you've had to deal with. If you were to write all of that out, that would really help you step out of your life just a little bit and see this 30,000 foot view. You can also help people around you, help you, encourage you, or just do it with friends to sit back and be like, what have we done in the last 12 months? It has been an incredible 12 months. And the fact that we're all still having relationships, we're maintaining friendships, parenting, managing homeschool or not homeschool, managing stress, going grocery shopping, cooking for your people, cooking for yourself, going out for walks, finding some laughter and some joy are pretty incredible things considering how difficult the last 10 months have been. And often we focus on the one thing or this little myopic thing that is something we're struggling with without looking at the bigger picture. And changing this perspective will really change how you see things because it'll make you realize that in the grand scheme of things, maybe this one thing that you've been focusing on is actually not that important, or maybe it's not that bad. So perspective actually changes how we interact with our lives. It changes how we interact in relationships. And it changes how you interact with yourself. So we are so hard on ourselves. We are shoulding all over ourselves. I should be doing this. I should be doing better. I should be doing this, or I should be climbing the mountain, or I should be going to the gym, or I should be losing weight, or all the shoulds that are there. And they're really, really brutal because we're not taking time to put it into perspective of this 30,000 foot view. So I encourage you to take some time, get some perspective on how difficult the last 12 months have been, and cut yourself some a break, cut yourself some, give yourself some slack on this, and be gentle with yourself and celebrate the things that you've done and the accomplishments you've made, despite how challenging things have been.